All right, we got this working. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get kicked off here, guys. So we will get rolling. I'll let Aaron kind of intro here.
Sure. So do you want to control?
Yeah, I'll do this.
All right, guys. Well, we're excited to talk to you tonight. So go ahead and skip over. So before we do kick off, it would be, we had this presentation and all of this planned for you guys prior to everything that has happened in the world. And Jordan and I, we kind of sat down and asked ourselves, how do we now change it? Like, is this even relevant? Do people even care? And the really cool thing as we started looking through our slides was nothing changes. Like, really nothing changes in the way you attract clients if you're doing it from a heart-centered place that really values connection, is what we're going to talk about and teach today, or kind of our 5-step model that really, really works. So here's an elephant in the room. I thought this was funny. Thought you would appreciate that.
Yeah, I do. I like corny jokes like that. So we're going to address the elephant in the room of what we're all dealing with right now, and really just show compassion and understanding more than anything else. Yeah,
so one thing I want you to realize throughout all of this, and this has been the best advice that has helped me, and then we'll kind of dive into the meat and potatoes of what we're going to talk about today, but we're all stressed. We're all worried. We're all worried a lot for other people and the elderly population and all kinds of things. And what I want you to remind yourself is, no matter how sick you are, you're not going to make a sick person healthy. Meaning, no matter how worried you are, your worry, anxiety, that putting that into the world does nothing for anybody, including you. If anything, the one way you can serve right now is to step up as a leader. People are looking for leadership, mentorship more than ever. And a lot of that, as all of you know, comes by way of fitness. Like, starting your fitness journey is really the #1 way to take control of your life and kind of let it bleed over into every other area. So I want us to kind of be in that frame of mind and realize that there are so many opportunities. There's opportunity we have everywhere. So if you don't believe me, like the most amount of millionaires were made during the Great Depression.
Of any other time in U.S. history.
Yeah. Like this is something we can take control of. You have a lot of people's attention right now. A lot of people are sitting at home and they're bored. And like I said, they're looking for leadership and guidance. And in order for you to do that, you have to stay calm. You have to stay centered. You have to really take care of you first. And you have to do things that feel good. I don't want you to look around on the internet and other people are giving away free workouts and other people are doing this and that. And if you operate from this place of fear and scarcity, it's not going to come off. What feels good to you? Stay calm, stay measured. You're creating content the ways you've always created content, and just let's move forward.
Yeah. So first, I just want to kind of piggyback on that and double down on the point that there is a surplus of attention right now. So not only are there a lot of individuals who are home, right, and you might be in a similar position where potentially you work a second job, or this is more of a side hustle. You've got the opportunity to give your attention towards giving your business or growing your business, and also towards gaining the attention market share of these other people who are at home, in isolation and quarantine, just like we all are. So I was actually looking at some crazy statistics. Like right now, Instagram usage is up it was 47%. TikTok right now is up 76%, week over week, just from last week. So we're just getting into this, guys. So there is an opportunity here for you to focus your attention towards your business, also to try to gain trust and attention to your potential clients down the road. So we're gonna go ahead and dive in here. Just wanted to kind of set the frame. And guys, as we're going in here, you're going to find that a lot of times we want you guys to engage here and to let us know that you're paying attention. So you guys can go ahead and just drop in the comment box that you are ready to, like Nicole said, make this pivot, to make this commitment, and to actually focus on giving value, gaining trust, and to being of service to your audience. So go ahead and just comment in that we're ready to pivot.
Comment yes. Comment yes if you're in that frame of mind and you're done being fearful.
Yeah. So should see some comments rolling in. But we'll go ahead and get kicked off too. Cool, Julia, right on. Yeah, this is the first webinar I've ever done. So bear with me, guys. I've done a lot of video sales letters, which is a very similar format and something that we do teach in IFCA. There they are. Cool. I was like, man, I don't think anybody wants to comment. Yeah. Cool. So the first thing I'm going to explain here, and then Aaron's going to take over, is our client engine roadmap. So I'm a very systematic individual, and a lot of people who we work with who can relate on that level will love this. I want to show you guys what a big picture framework looks like for a coaching model. An effective coaching model, one that has sustainability in a marketplace and one that can grow. So number one, we're not going to get into each of these steps. Okay. We might have future live trainings where we break down different pieces. We're going to give you the nuts and bolts of our SICC model though. 5 steps to client attraction and conversion. So number one, passion. We all know that's where we have to operate from. And especially right now, I would put in there compassion. Passion and compassion. Okay. we're showing up and marketing around this time, we first have to show compassion and understanding, because we want to thrive through this, not because of this.
Absolutely. Yeah. So this whole monster spider web seems like a lot right now. Like Jordan said, we're going to pick out pieces, the pieces you guys asked about. Every time we ask, what do you struggle with getting new clients? So we're gonna kind of go over what the 5 pieces of this look like today. It looks like a lot. It is a lot. We go over it in 12 weeks with an IFCA.
Yeah. So just kind of run through these 3 forces of creation. Something we're not going to get into today, but another part that's next to passion, right? The creation of human passion and achievement. And next thing is that really applies for what we're going to talk about today is awareness. How do we garnish awareness around what we do as coaches? This comes from content, a model that we're going to talk about, IFCA, and then also assets. Okay. From there, we want to drive people in here through these three steps into a community. We're going to talk about that a little bit today too, a free community. From there, it's all about conversion. How do we effectively convert people to becoming clients, from taking them from a suspect to a prospect to a customer and a client? We're going to talk about that today a little bit too. From there, it's all about the sales part, which we misspelled, application and CRM, customer relationship management. From there, it goes into the sales process. How do we actually convert them into being a client? And then we talk about the fun stuff, payment systems, delivery, and then different applications that you can use to more effectively deliver your program, deliver your coaching in a more effective way so that they get better results, you create raving fans, etc.
I think I already know what our next webinar will be about. It'll probably be all of those systems.
Yeah.
Because like I said, that's a whole other monster. So really, like, most coaches do it wrong. What they do is they put their foot on the gas while they're focusing on everything else. So the car of their business, sometimes it moves forward, sometimes it moves backwards, sometimes it stays the same. There's a saying that we always use, and it's practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. So today we show you what that perfect practice really looks like inside of your coaching business.
Yeah. A lot of coaches, especially right now, there are 2 ways to look at this. A lot of individuals are going to be looking at things the wrong way. They're going to be in that analysis or paralysis by analysis mode where they're focused on the wrong things like branding, your help statement, whatever ebook you're going to create, your logo. We want to really focus on the things that matter. And we're going to talk about the 80-20 rule to help you frame what's really important here.
Yeah, so the 80-20 rule in business, as soon as I understood this, it really changed everything for me several years ago. So the Pareto principle, I'm sure some of you guys have heard of this and things other than business, but it applies
in everything in life.
Yes, it states that roughly 80% of the effects come from 20% of the causes. So you can break that down in business to say that 80% of your revenue should come from 20% of your audience. And I would even break that down further to say like your ideal, like not your entire audience, but the actual potential customers. Within IFCA, we have certain students that can take advantage of the 4% rule. So if you take 20% of the top 24%, you're left with 4%. And of that, we can create a 4% offer. If you're serving 4% of your audience, you're still doing pretty great. And we want to speak to those smaller number of people, the people whose problems that you really know and understand really, really well.
Yeah, and this applies in 2 ways. Like Aaron said, from a revenue standpoint, which is where Aaron really excels, and from a system standpoint, or what are we actually putting our time into in our business? So whatever we're putting our time into, it should be about 20% of what we're doing, what we do on a daily basis, should make up about 80% of the results. So today we're really going to think about what is it that we can eliminate that aren't actually contributing to the results. And what we can't eliminate, we need to figure out what we can automate. What we can't automate, we want to delegate. And then we have the ability to scale, right? Let me know you understand in the comments. Say, I get it, I understand. Shoot me a comment. Let me know if that makes sense.
Comment yes if this is a light bulb. If you are like, oh, I don't even have an offer that could serve 4% of my audience.
Yeah, so that's what we're going to focus on today. So coaches with the system, an actual business structure of attracting and closing delivery clients, like that's when you can have the predictability to actually scale your business. So you start thinking, I know how this works. When I put my foot on the gas, the car moves forward. And this is kind of like an accelerator effect. And this is where we get into the SICC method. It's SICC. Because then once you have all the systems in place, you can prove your audience and yourself that it works. And you're like, all right, cool. I do this. I put my foot on the gas. It goes forward. We had a really interesting conversation with Mind Pump Media here lately. And they've got the system, man. They know I push this button, I get clients. And so someone stopped and asked, why don't you push the button? And they said, well, because I'm not ready for that influx yet and I really can't deliver. So they've got the lead generation system. Back-end systems are equally as important. Yeah. You don't want you can outgrow your business, right? You don't want to focus too much on pushing that car, pushing the gas pedal, if you don't have the infrastructure in place to be able to effectively support the clients that are coming in. So that's the angle that we're going to look at here. So great, Julia. Julia says that really applies for how she's doing things right now. That's awesome to hear. So again, today what we're gonna teach you is how you can finally use these tools and use this method to turn your business into a full-time career. And this is going to create a system that will allow you to generate clients on demand, essentially clients that actually want to work with you and that actually relate to you, without having to be like spammy in the DMs all day, without having to use shady marketing tactics. It's going to be clients in abundance, like we usually say. So.
Yes. So I'm going to run through my story, which I think some of you guys have probably heard, but kind of, why should you learn from Jordan and I? Why are you here? If you don't know us, hello, nice to meet you. But
your butt looks really good in that post too, by the way.
I thought you were about to say the middle one. I was going to say, that's Amanda Flynn. Anyway, so we briefly want to share our stories and kind of like how and why. So since 2013, we have built a 7-figure business. We have, sorry, can you scroll back a little bit? Sorry, I lost all my notes, guys.
This is slightly.
Okay, sorry.
Right here.
Cool, sorry, I thought we moved over. So, and not only since then have we survived, but we've thrived. So 4,000 clients helped. We've helped 100 past IFCA students use the method we're going to teach you today to generate tons of high-paying clients, to narrow down their 20% and their 4% offers, and we're going to teach you how you can do the same. So a lot of coaches that we see in the space today, they've had a little success in their business, and they turn around and start offering business coaching.
A lot of business coaches in the space we see this happen with specifically.
Yeah, and really, honestly, it's because they realize they can make money easier for a lot of reasons. Because fitness coaching is harder, it's saturated. If you don't understand these things, it's really easy to sit down and say, well, you know what, maybe I can be a business coach. So when I started my coaching in 2013, I had a lot of struggles early on. I made a lot of mistakes, which now you guys get to learn from, which is exciting. So in 2016, from 2013 to 2016, I worked my ass off. In 2016, I got to a point where I was just working insane hours, 75 hours a week. I built my business to about 500K in revenue, working completely on my own, and I just hated doing all the business stuff. So I just wanted to coach clients, and I hated talking on the phone. It was out of my own fear and ego. I told myself, like, I don't work for anybody. I don't have to do that. I'd make excuses. I thought, I'm a better communicator online. Thing is, I got away with that. I played a different game in 2013. I will be the first to admit that. There wasn't a sea of online coaches back then. I could keep a roster of 200 clients. I could charge them next to nothing. I could make $500,000 in a year, and I would hardly even have to sell them.
And that was like a model that worked for a lot of coaches. You could work more volume and more quality and more quantity and provide, an effective service and get results. Like, you were taking on how many clients at one point a month? Like
60 clients a month. Well, here's the thing. Back then, coaching was the commodity.
Yeah.
Coaching is no longer a commodity.
Exactly.
So when someone wanted an online fitness coach, they're like, oh, there's these 5 girls on Instagram who do it.
Yeah, and at that point, just like with other products or commodities, what people are buying on, they're buying based on the value and the price, okay? Nowadays, price is not as relevant. It's more so about value because it's less commoditized. Because when you have so many people doing the same thing, now we need to look at how we can stand out. That's what we're going to talk about, right?
So it's not a race to the bottom. You do not want to play that game. So today, people buy coaches, today people buy coaches, not coaching. So you can either sit back, whine about it, be like a lot of the people who were crushing it back in 2013 when I was, and say, oh, it's saturated, or you could learn what we're sitting here talking about today, which is actually how to stand out.
Yeah. Sorry, guys, lost our spot there. Go ahead. Slide 12.
Oh, I'm still my story. Sorry, guys. If you can't tell, I get weird like talking about myself and the whole story, but it is important, and I think you'll find yourself in it. So, taking you back to kind of like my breaking point. So in 2016, I had a breaking point where massive burnout with those 200 clients. Something needed to change. I was undercharging, which meant half of them weren't sticking to it. It was really not rewarding. I had client marketing down, but I was struggling. I was struggling really, really bad with systems. So over the next 3 years, I said, I need to figure this out. Like, someone has to be doing it. Someone is making this kind of money, working with this many clients and not wanting to kill themselves. So I invested over like that span until now, about $200,000 in mentorship and coaching.
Yeah, and this was right around the time that Erin and I sort of came together, and I was able to really look inside of her business, and I saw her burning out. She was starting to lose hair. Lauren said, I feel the way too about phone calls. You work in the gym currently and absolutely do not like prospecting from phone calls. Very awkward. I get that, Lauren. That's something that we'll really have to dive in and talk to you about and get over those mindset humps. We can talk about that a little bit at the end.
Cold calls, that's a lot different.
Cold calls is a lot different, yeah. Yeah, so what Erin and I did, we came together and we were able to form, a lot of companies now built on value and efficient systems, right? And more built on us. And a lot of the things we're going to teach today, you're going to be able to apply to do the same kind of thing. Like with Transform Together, we're able to create a program that gets insane results in retention. How many clients have we lost per launch?
So
1 or 2?
We took on 90 clients in December. So 90 high ticket clients in December. Now, granted, we have the infrastructure to support that and 4 assistant coaches, and we've lost less than 5 at this point, just given the systems and structure. And that's why at the beginning of the webinar, I said, I know what our next webinar is going to be about.
Yep.
So this is what Jordan was touching on. Really, we've gone from that to now we run 4 different companies that don't work half as much as I used to. Yeah. So we've gone on to Flow State of Mind. We have IFCA, obviously, and I guess just the cherry on top and the scoreboard, as we like to say, is we've been able to generate more than $1 million in revenue with our team of now I believe it's 8 people. Yeah.
So today we're also going to share with you a few different really interesting things. So the biggest mistakes that most online coaches make when it comes to attracting clients. We're going to talk about the 2 biggest things that full-time coaches do who do earn multiple 6 figures or even 7 figures, and that they do that most hobbyists don't, right? So if we can create what we're talking about here with a team of 8 people and 7 figures, you don't have to chase all that. If that's not what you want, that's fine. But don't you guys think that some of these tools we're going to teach you, you can apply on your own and you can create a 6-figure business? Okay, it applies at scale. So it's a simple 5-step system that we're going to talk about called the SICC framework that generates leads, converts clients, and it makes driving results a breeze. And these are things you can put in place right now.
Nice. So we have this here because one of the most important things when it comes to marketing your service is social proof. Like people want to know, does this actually work? So rather than us continue to tell you that, yes, it works, we're just going to let you hear it from a couple of people who may be in your exact shoes right now.
Yeah, it's important you look at this, guys, because social proof is very important. We could talk all day about what we've done, but a lot of you are thinking, well, how do I know if it's going to work? So in your own coaching business, look at social proof. I want you guys to watch also how we're presenting this webinar, how we're talking to you guys, because this applies to and how you should market your business. So we're going to share with you some social proof. Some of our past clients, they're very short. Go ahead and watch and listen from Taylor in our last round here.
I'm Taylor Hampton, and I just have to say that I did look into coaches for a while, and I've been in business for about 1.5 years. Things were good, but I wasn't making very much money. I didn't have all the systems. I was kind of just piecing it all together, And so I looked into coaches. No one felt right. No one felt right. And then I found Erin and Jordan, and it felt right. And so it was just amazing to finally feel like I found my people, and I was able to make my investment back within the first 30 days of the 90-day program. And that just really not only gave me the confidence that I needed, but it also showed my husband the potential that I have. And he finally, for the first time, really saw me as a businesswoman, and not just that it was just something that I was, diving into and a hobby and stuff like that. So that was really amazing. And this whole experience, the community, it's more than I could have ever.
Cool. So we won't play the next one just because the audio is off a little bit. You guys get the point, but you guys are asking some interesting questions. And Cheyenne had mentioned, I posted social proof on my IG last week and I got 1/10 of my usual engagement. That's good. That's how it's supposed to be. The moment you stop worrying about likes, the moment you start seeing likes go down, you're going to see your revenue go up, the more money you're going to make. There's an inverse effect, right? Now, sure, there's going to have to be some engagement we try to drive in certain posts to get more shares, to get more reach. But guys, if you look at what your most performing posts are when it turns into converting clients, that's going to be sharing things like case studies, social proof. Okay, those aren't going to get a lot of likes, and that's normal. That shouldn't be what you're focused on. If your focus is on likes, you're looking at the wrong metric in business. We need to focus more on, before and after can be social proofs, of course, text messages, all those things. So we'll definitely talk about that at the end more.
There's a lot of good questions, which I think might be better to save more of them for the end. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, we'll definitely get into it. So we won't play Christie's here, but another good example of somebody who crushed it with a lot of these systems and tools we're going to talk about. So we'll go ahead and move on, though.
She like really crushed it. Quit her full-time job as a nurse, brought her husband home. I love that girl. Ollie, talk about
Yeah, so Lacey, who we want to share with you, a lot of you guys might be thinking, well, maybe these people have big followings, or how does this apply to me? Lacey was a lot like you guys. If you have maybe a small amount of followers on Instagram, she currently has 1,600. When she was in IFCA 2 years ago, she had 800. Okay, and we were able to take her business from, I think it was 3 or 4K a month to consistent 10K a month, just with these simple systems. So what she overcame in a big way was a lot of money mindset blocks. All right. A lot of you guys are probably feeling the same way. You don't feel like you can charge a certain amount, or you can't get clients to convert on even $100, $150, $200 a month.
Actually, comment yes. I'm so curious if you are in that position, if you feel like you can't raise your prices, if you feel like you're maybe in that shoe, you're in Lacey's shoes dealing with some money mindset blocks. Yeah,
comment if you guys feel if you can relate to that, because that's certainly something that we need to dig in and help you guys overcome. So we'll move on to Tana here. Tana's a really interesting example too, because she's kind of, she was in IFCA and she had some in-person clients. Devin can relate here. John, Nicole, confident in my offer. That's good. That's good. What I would ask you guys, a lot of you guys who are commenting yes, Ashley says that Aaron tells me this. A lot of the question, or a big question maybe to ask yourself, is when you go to pitch your price on a sales call, a lot of times that subconsciously is going to come off wrong because you've never been in their shoes. All right, clients need to know that you've walked a mile in their shoes. So have you ever been uncomfortable in making a certain investment? Have you ever betted on yourself, right, and taken that leap? If you haven't, that's rule number one. All right, Aaron and I have both been on the ledge where we've invested so much money in coaching and mentorship that it stings. It's terrifying. And if you're asking clients to do the same thing, look, $300 a month, $400 a month in coaching to a lot of people is a scary investment. Mm-hmm. Started online coaching, but I'm looking too soon. I felt like I shouldn't. Good stuff, guys. Good stuff.
Someone had commented that I feel like people are only willing to pay influencers more money.
That's bullshit. Yeah.
Well, we have a free sales training that you can go through that will shift that.
Yeah.
But that's the money mindset blocks we're talking about.
Yeah. And guys, we'll spend as much time as we need to here after the presentation, and we can dig into some of these things. So we're going to skip over these, right? The types of coaches we work with.
Yeah, this is something we get asked a lot. We're going to kind of just briefly go through these. Who do we work with and who can we help with in IFCA? 3 types of people. So we can help you if you're fairly new, but it depends. We can help people who are more experienced in their stock, and then we can also help fitness influencers. And we just kind of go through because I think people have a lot of blocks around that. I think the minute you hear about an opportunity that helps with lead generation, you're like, well, that person probably had more followers. That person probably had more experience. That person probably had this, and that. And that's not always the case. So we just are highlighting a few of those people who didn't let excuses stand in their way. Yeah.
So Olivia, for example, was brand new, had never created a fitness offer. She'd worked in a gym. She'd had her own transformation. She'd worked with coaches in the past. She had absolutely no experience. So she went from nothing to averaging 5K a month within 90 days. Now she's on pace to hit 8K a month. She was actually on our podcast too recently, which we're going to release here soon, and you can hear her story. So that's one example of what is possible, okay? Yeah, Nicole, you're absolutely right. Angela, this is another example of who can have success with this model. That's really what we're trying to teach here. You know, she'd been in business for a few years. She created results. She'd been selling her services for way too low.
She had a lot of money mindset blocks.
Yeah. But she did have a willingness to learn and take action and really trust. And see, that's the thing, guys. When you dive in and you invest in mentorship, you put your ass on the line. And if you're paying for something, you're more likely to implement it. That's really what it comes down to. So Soraya, great example, one of our past clients on the call, she said she used her student loan money to pay for IFCA, and she learned way more than she did in a semester of grad school. And IFCA was well worth it. And guys, we're not here simply just to pitch IFCA, right? That's not our prerogative here. It's to get you guys to believe in effective systems, effective tools. And even if you invest with somebody else, that's fine. But this is the way to do it. You can collapse time, get yourself going in the right direction. It's just, I'm a product of coaching, and so is Aaron.
100%. And then this one, if anyone is in the fitness influencer shoes and they're not making 10, 15K a month, just DM me. This is like, I don't feel like many people on the call are probably in the shoes. This one's just almost too easy.
Yeah, we won't get into that. Does anybody here, have over 20,000, 30,000, 50,000 followers, somewhere in there? If you are, comment, because if you're not, like Aaron said, making a good amount of money. So what we were able to do with Laura.
Let me just kind of separate two, though. And it's not the sheer number of followers. It's the amount of trust built. Yeah. Someone like Laura showed up for 5 consistent years on social media, hence why she built a following. Her people felt indebted to her, felt trustworthy to her. You can do that with 800 followers and still have a 6-figure income. When you do it with 300,000 followers, it does give you a great opportunity.
Yeah, so she's been doing the right things as far as showing up and providing trust, just as Aaron said. And look, guys, we're going to tell you this not to impress you, but to impress upon you the value of building trust over time. So she was able to go from $0 online income to 70 grand in 1 month. She had $70,000 a month in the first month she launched her offer. And that was with all these systems we're getting ready to talk about. A lot more back-end stuff we did and, you know, some email marketing things. But look, it's possible with just a few simple tweaks, all right? So we're going to get into the nuts and bolts. Yeah, Julia, your husband should be crushing it right now with that kind of engagement, without a doubt. So we're going to talk about the SICC framework now, okay? So we're going to get into the nuts and bolts. We'll go ahead and just move on. Let's talk about the first section, and that's S, which is for storytelling. So if you notice, even in this presentation, Erin told her story, right? It's how we connect with people and how our brain remembers things. So storytelling does a few things on a scientific and biochemical level. And I'm the science guy. You know, it's a big part of what I teach in IFCA, where we also teach, you know, training modalities, coaching application, and things like that. So when it comes to storytelling, there's one process that happens called neurocoupling, and it activates parts of the brain that makes the listener tune in to their own ideas and experiences, okay? So that makes them bond with you as you're telling the story. So it's not even just your story that this applies with. It could be stories of your clients who have had success. It could be just simple stories of something you learned. But it allows that on a subconscious level for that listener to tune in and be on the same page with you, and they start to connect subconsciously. The last thing you can do when you want to pitch your offer, let's say you want to try to draw coaching in, the fucking stupidest thing you can do is to make a post that says, hey guys, I have spots available. Here's what my coaching is. You're selling based on process. Nobody cares. Right? Nobody cares what your process is. They want to know if you are the vehicle to get them there. And that comes through your story.
Yeah. And when people are making a buying decision, it's typically off emotion and not logic in that way. So especially like service-based business, like we just talked about, people buy coaches, not by coaching. They're gonna buy into your story, the client's story, really who you are. So this process is imperative on social media. Now, if we're creating a landing page or a website, like that's different. We can use different language, but storytelling, I'm sure most of you guys are looking for leads out there in a connected way. This is how we do it. So in order to build a successful business, like you really need two things. And one is to have a way to stand out in the marketplace. Two is to work with clients.
Sorry, I wasn't quite done with the storytelling part.
I interrupted him. Sorry.
Sorry, guys. You'll find we do that sometimes. It's part of our shtick. So the other thing that storytelling does, and I want you guys to comment too. Comment yes if you do believe that you have a story that can connect with people. We all have a story, and it all deserves to be heard. Okay, and it's powerful. It's very relieving and therapeutic too to really share your story and to be vulnerable. All right, some of you guys might come from past eating disorder issues. You could be coming from past feeling like you were skinny and couldn't have the confidence. You got bullied in high school. All those things are things that people can relate to. Devin says absolutely. I'm telling you guys, you all have a very, very powerful story. And sometimes it takes people like us to pull that out of you. All right. So the other way that this affects your brain is mirroring, which is basically an NLP technique or neuro-linguistic programming. And it's a very effective way to get people to take action. So when you're using mirroring by telling your story, it allows that listener to get on a similar brainwave as you, and it makes them connect with you. Again, that word connection, such a huge part of what we're doing. The last thing I'm going to mention is dopamine. All right. Dopamine obviously is a very powerful neurotransmitter that elicits achievement and action. If we can trigger dopamine via telling, through our content, through things we're sharing, through phone calls or enrollment calls, it's going to get people to take action. And again, people buy on emotion, like Aaron said, not facts and logic. So stop telling people what your processes are. Start telling people your story more.
Yes, in all of your stories. I think someone had commented, I have a few, I don't know which. Like, tell them all. I'm constantly, when I create content, that's my process. Sometimes I'll flip through my camera roll because I've been really good at taking photos over the last 8 years. And they jog up memories. I look through old journals. I do different things. And I just pull experiences and things from my life. That's how people are going to connect with you. Those are the people within IFCA who have success and get raving fans. So back to what I was saying about to build a business, you need two things. And one is to have a way to stand out in the marketplace. And two is to work with clients you love. The key to the second is you have to do the first through everything we're telling. So your prospective client is really, they're more interested in how you connect with them than your methods for helping them. So
say that again real quick. Just really hammer that home.
Yes, and I'll give an example. So your prospective client, they're more interested in how you'll connect with them rather than your methods for helping them. And coaches get very hung up on, oh, I have this really cool app and I'll talk to you on the phone once a week and I'll do this, this, and that. They don't care.
Guys, guess what? Your coaching is not much different than everybody else, all right? Sure, you've got more experience, maybe you have more certifications, you do things a little bit differently. That's fine, but and your processes should be deep. We're all selling the same shit. We're putting people into a caloric deficit. We're making them train with progressive stimulus. We're doing the same shit.
Absolutely, yep. So when you start to actually put personal interest and experience and perspective into everything, that's how you start to effectively tell your story and share the stories with your clients. That's when you stand out in like this actual crowded space of online coaching. There are business coaches out there who will tell you, no, it's not saturated. There's way more people who need help, blah, blah. It is saturated, and you need these things, and you do have to actually stand out. It's not a reason to bow down and whine about it. And if you want to do that, we can't help you, so you could sign off now. But really learning these things is the key. We take on about 40 students at a time within IFCA, and they all have success. There's enough room for all of them. All of our friends are coaches, and they all have success. So we really can. But and the other bonus by doing this is you attract clients that actually love you, that actually know you, who you can be yourself with. Jordan said the fuck word like 10 times on this webinar, and I don't think someone might end up getting offended, and we'll get an email about it. But
that's good.
That's the beauty, is like you really get to be yourself and connect with them, and how fun that we get to actually run businesses that way.
Yeah, so 2 points that I think will help really drive that point home, or two ways to think about this. We say this all the time, and might be redundant for some of you, but in order to get people to love you, you must give them permission to hate you. If maybe 3 or 4 of you on this call listen to how Aaron and I speak and how we present,
how we started arguing.
Yeah. And if that offends you and pisses you off, that's good. That's fine, because somebody else is out there for you. But other people on the call are be like, man, I fuck with them because they're real. They don't try to hide that, they get annoyed with each other, or that they, bicker, or that they say fuck a lot. That's fine, because now I give you permission to love me. All right. And the second point is, the market can be saturated, but here's the secret. The secret is that if you are truly yourself and you are truly authentic and you are vulnerable and you show who you really are, you're only in a market of one. There's only one you. There's nobody, unless you have some, genetically identical twin out there that's also coaching and doing the same thing. Mm-hmm. He or she's the only one you're competing with. Now, if you do act like everybody else, that's what's up, Meredith. But if you act like somebody else or the rest of the coaches out there, sure, you're going to be in the saturated space. So the next thing to touch on quickly is systems, right? That's awesome, Lindsay.
See, this is how you find your people.
Right. Do you have systems that allow you to actually scale your business? Yeah, I'm talking about simple systems that allow you to program your business, or progress your business rather. Okay, to allow you to focus on areas that allow you to be spent working on attracting new clients rather than, living out of your email inbox. All right, it's that 80-20 rule. How do we create systems that allow you to focus on that 20% that are driving the results rather than focusing on this 80% that's minutia, okay? Think about all the things that you do. Here's a good exercise for you guys. Think about everything that you do on a weekly, daily, or monthly basis. Write them all down, okay? Your business should be built around your life rather than your life built around your business. And a lot of us fall into that trap. I know we still become victim of that at times to time, and we have to lean on our mentor and our coaches to help us pull away from it. I can't tell you how many coaches have come into IFCA who are working so many hours. They're bleeding themselves to the bone and are essentially turning themselves into minimum wage entrepreneurs, right? Maybe they're making, 3 or 4K a month, but they're working 70 hours a week. Guys, you might as well get a job at McDonald's. So the key here is to systemize, number one, eliminate, all right? When you write down all those tasks, find out what we can eliminate. Okay, then we automate everything else. Then whatever we can't automate, we outsource. There's plenty of outsourcing opportunity there with just contractors. It doesn't mean we have to hire. We can use contractors. From there, we have the opportunity to scale because we've bought back our time and we have the freedom and energy and focus to scale.
Yeah, I almost wish you would have put those 5 steps on the slide because those are important. Just to repeat again. Systemize, eliminate, automate, outsource, scale.
Yeah. Actually, they are later on.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So here's I told you, all right, we're doing a webinar on lead generation because it's what everyone thinks they need. Probably 50%, we showed you the people we work with, the newbie, the experienced coach, the fitness influencer, everyone in that experienced coach category, we're like, you don't need to scale. You don't need your next client. You need to go back and systemize this. And we work on their systems for a good 6 months. And then they have accelerated growth. So when people ask me, is it typical for someone like Taylor to go from $1,000 a month to $9,000 a month? Yeah, once we clean up all of that shit, that accelerated growth, that's how that's happened. So all the entrepreneurs want to scale. You know, if we're an entrepreneur, like, we're not short of ideas. We're thinking of the next thing. We're 10 steps ahead. As coaches, we're like, chill the fuck out. Let's fix all of this so you actually don't have to kill yourself and you can have like just kind of a turnkey business.
Yeah, exactly. Such a good point. So some examples of this that we can help systemize client onboarding so we have an efficient process to bring clients in, create customized plan with a lot of individualization, but that we're not spending so much time on. Because once you create efficient systems, it gives you your energy and focus back. We only have so much creative energy through the day. So when you're burning yourself out by living in your email inbox, by all this shit, what you're doing is taking away the opportunity for you to show up and be yourself to attract people who love you. So other systems, client outreach, client follow-up, client follow-through, content creation, content repurposing, email marketing, automation, sales, and organizing your offers. Anything that we do more than once that can't be automated, we should put into a document and create a standard operating procedure. And we're going to talk about some tools you can use to do that. So that way it can be outsourced very, very easily. Comment yes, guys, if you're enjoying this, if that's making sense and creating some clarity. This is one that I love Aaron talking about, because this is the secret, really.
Also comment yes if you're doing some bullshit within your business that you think you can automate and think you can use better systems for. Because I know that spoke to me. Jordan is the systems guy. He took a look at I was embarrassed to show him what I was doing. Remember that period of 2013 to 16? I was like, I don't even want you to see this.
Yeah.
I learned the hard way. I did all the stuff and thought I was working when really I was in motion and not taking any solid action. Cool. I'm glad this is resonating with you guys. So, all right. So third step, invitation. Invitation is creating like a safe, low barrier entry to create conversations. And this is why we will like kind of go against other coaches who just DM people. No. Invite people. So there are several examples I could give of this that have worked so beautifully for IFCA students, for myself. If we have time, I might give you a few, but I want to tell you a story of how this works in real life. Again, stories. If you're noticing anything, if I can get you to remember this, it's going to be through stories. If it's going to mean anything to you, it's going to be through a story. So NASA was trying to get their engineers to contribute opinions about a really complex, like nuclear power plant decision. Nobody was giving any input. They were asking, what should we do? Like big decisions here we need to make. And everyone was just silent. So they moved on to the next topic. The next topic was, what color should we paint this bike shed? The bike shed where everyone rides their bikes. I guess everyone rode their bikes to NASA. I don't really know.
They had like a large campus on the NASA campus. So that's where they all stored their bikes. And they just wanted to know, hey, what color should we bike this shed? What color should we paint this shed? And everybody knows that you should paint bike sheds red. Okay. They should be red.
Anyway, there were tons of opinions. Tons of people wanted to enter that conversation because it's a really low barrier, low risk way to enter a conversation. People are only going to contribute and have a conversation with you if they feel safe, if they feel like they can give a qualified opinion.
And if they feel like they're not going to feel stupid.
Exactly. Yeah. So how do you do this? You share small, intimate details about ourselves, our opinions, things we believe, and allow for easy conversations, because those easy conversations, they're low-hanging fruit that eventually lead to bigger conversations that therefore then lead to clients, which lead to money, which I'm sure is why a lot of you guys are doing this. So people oftentimes, they feel like you're too far ahead of them, even if you don't feel like you're very qualified. If you're in shape, they feel like, no, I'm not going to talk to that person. I don't know what I'm talking about. The bike shed effect, it really allows people to engage with you, just like that NASA example. So again, people want to comment on those things. They want to relate on those things because people buy people buy coaches, not coaching. I always say it backwards. So give them an invitation, let them know who you are, let them join the conversation. Do not spam their DMs. Give them like a really easy entry door to conversation.
Yeah. And I will not necessarily disagree by any means, but there is ways to DM and to start conversations also based on this bike shed theory.
Yeah.
For example, the other day in our IFCA community, I was trying to drive engagement over a post. Actually, it might have been around the webinar or something. Yeah. So I wanted people to see this post about a webinar, right? So what I did was I posted about the webinar, and then I was like, you know what? I'm kind of curious too. Don't you guys think that pineapple belongs on pizza? Because I feel like you shouldn't trust anybody who won't eat pineapple on pizza. It's fucking delicious. You're weird if you disagree. And that's the thing, when you're doing this, take a stance, because look, nobody is not going to want to talk to me because I like pineapples on my pizza, it just creates a friendly debate. There were dozens of comments. Now, you could go in and DM those people and say, hey, look, you really like pineapple on pizza. That's funny. LOL. Have you always been that way? That's a low barrier conversation. They already engaged with you, so they're giving you an invitation too. So you can do this in so many ways, right? Like on your stories, like create opportunities for people to have conversations with you that aren't risk. Or if they disagree with you, like you could even go on there and say that The Dark Knight is a really terrible film. It's not a good movie. And a lot of you guys might disagree with me, but I think it's a shitty movie. And that's going to create a lot of conversation. And again, conversations turn to conversion or turn to clients. Conversation turns to clients. The next one, guys, is one that we've already talked about a lot here. So we'll definitely come through, guys, and answer some of these questions too. Should you turn that random conversation towards coaching or just use it to build connection and trust? Cheyenne, there's no immediate answer to that, but you want to eventually start asking them questions. It's all about question asking, right? So once you start a conversation, you can eventually turn the conversation to fitness, right? By saying, oh, like, that's interesting that you like pineapples on pizza. Like, so how are you doing right now as far as fitness goes? Like, what are you doing to try to reach your goals? Ask them a question. They're going to answer, oh, that's cool. Well, what are you struggling with around that? Like, I might be able to help. This is what I do for a living, blah, blah, blah. Or you even ask them, hey, what do you do for a living? And by you asking them that, they're going to ask you that. Oh, I'm a fitness coach. I help specific, blah, blah, blah. These kind of people, lose weight, build muscle. And then you can tell them, hey, look, this is what I enjoy doing. I love talking about fitness. Why don't we hop on a quick call? I'll help you out a little bit for free. You hop on a quick 10-minute call. You're building that trust ladder, building. Then after that 10-minute call, you then can get them on an actual sales call via a follow-up email with the application process. That's how you use this to actually bring clients in and convert them, okay? Rather than just, hey, click the link in my bio.
Yeah, you have to be very careful with that. And if you're asking, like, do I turn it to coaching? You'll know when it feels right to do that. And we share some scripts and things with our students of, like, filler in between questions, because I'm that person. I'm like, I don't know how to have normal people conversations. So I followed, like, certain scripts for a little while. Yeah.
So when it comes to connection, all right, we want to think about how we can truly connect with people through our content, through our messaging and everything else. And a lot of times this comes down to five key things that drive people on a subconscious level. And it comes down to family, finance, freedom, feelings, and future. So for example, Aaron and I talk about, I'm sorry, this is your spot. You can go ahead, sorry.
So yeah, Jordan and I, to do this and relate on authenticity, we talk about our dogs, our family. I'm extremely vulnerable. Like you guys, I'm sure if you followed me for long enough, you've seen me cry at least once on my story. Like Jordan said, in order to allow people to love you, you must first give them permission to hate you. And here's the thing, as long as you're acting like someone else or putting on an act, you have no possibility of truly reaching people. Like the most valuable thing you have to offer is yourself. No matter what you think you're selling, like you're really selling you, and only you can be you. And how we've been talking about this is extremely saturated. That's the only way you make it not saturated. So if you're dealing with some imposter syndrome and afraid to do that, dig in there. It's funny that we think we're working on business when really all we're ever working on is ourselves. We're never working on relationships. We're just working on ourselves.
Yeah.
Like everything is everything. You're really only working on you. You're going to realize that if you do work with Jordan and I in some capacity, that we're more like life coaches than we are anything. Dig in there. Is when it's a mastercraft to be able to show up on social media like yourself, because you open yourself to judgment. And that's really, really scary. But you also open yourself to extreme connection and clients.
Yeah. So I'll repeat the 5 F's. A couple of you guys have asked that. So it's family, finance, freedom, feelings, and future.
Dude, Jocelyn's a good listener. She rattled them all.
Yeah, she is for sure. And I want to sort of summarize those. So all 5 of those, they couple into like a big overlying category. When it comes to buying decisions and behavior, people are driven based on 2 subconscious needs. And it's going to sound shallow because guess what? Marketing should be shallow because people are driven by our limbic systems, our systems that have evolved over so many years that drive us towards survival, procreation, resources. All right. We need to look at this at a fundamental level. People are driven based on 2 things. Number 1, sex. People want to have more sex. Okay. And obviously, like there's some, we can get into that, but it's procreation, right? Love, connection, those kind of things. Like that's why people want to lose weight on a subconscious level in the back of their mind. It's not what they're consciously thinking, but that's why people use sex in marketing to make you look sexier, right? Like that's the reason that works. So they're driven based on sex and status. They want bigger homes, bigger cars, a better family, a better wife, kids that get better grades so they can brag to their Uncle Bill because his kids suck. Like That's what's driving people at a subconscious level. So underneath that, you have to look at the 5 F's: family, finance, freedom, feelings, and future, right? Let me know if that makes sense, guys. Comment yes.
I also realize this is a lot. On these webinars, a lot of times we try to like do the overview and not get so much in the weeds. We're getting a lot in the weeds. So if you guys are feeling overwhelmed, confused, there's more of this to come. Don't feel like you have to like, there's a lot. As I think the deeper we get, the more you realize. So
cool. Looks like you guys are hanging in there. Good.
Cool. Awesome. So next we have conversion. So diagnostic, and this is like our diagnostic and connect. I'm not talking about diagnostic and connect methods. So we can't work with everybody. You have to screen people. You have to diagnose what their problems are. You have to truly create a customer experience through the conversion process. So we have to be willing to charge what you're worth. People who pay, they pay attention. I've always noticed the trend with my clients, and people who pay more, they get better results. Why? Well, because we place a value on things that we pay for money for. You're not just going to throw your iPhone on the ground and forget where it is.
Can I tell the story about the retail thing, the dress?
Sure.
Cool. So here's a good example of that. And again, I know we're getting in the weeds, but we have fun with this. We like to teach, right? And we can tell you guys are enjoying it and engaging. So I'll tell you a story.
Yeah, people aren't dropping off.
Yeah. So I'll tell you a story as to how this actually works. So Aaron and I, and I'm kind of making up the characters here, Aaron and I walk into a department store and we go in dress shopping. We'll just call it wedding dress shopping. We're a little bit.
We didn't go wedding dress shopping together. That was my bike shed.
Yeah. This is a fake story.
Everyone knows that.
So with the bike shed, yeah, Erin used that one time. She actually used it on her story. She said, "Hey, should I let Jordan see the wedding dress before we get married?" And dude, she got tons of DMs.
Yeah. Everyone has an opinion there.
And eventually those conversations lead to coaching. Okay. So anyways, we go in, we're dress shopping, and she sees the dress she loves. And so she picks the dress out and she goes and tries it on. She comes out and I'm just completely enamored. I'm, getting turned on. I'm like, just I'm blown away. Like I have hearts in my eyes. Like, baby, that's, a beautiful dress. I love it. You look so sexy. Okay, great. She obviously wants to buy it now. So she takes that dress and she walks up to the cashier's station, hands the dress to the cashier. She turns around and says, that'll be $3,000. Honestly, without any doubt, she's going to buy that dress now. Now, here's the thing. If that dress would have had a price tag on it, front and center, immediately she wouldn't have bought it because she didn't know the value yet. We were able to build the value because I was able to make her feel how she felt in that dress. She felt sexy. She felt how I loved her. That's what a conversion and connection process works, or why it works. We have to build value based on these subconscious cues to get people to what they want. Let me know if you guys understand that. Say yes.
Yes. So this is why we diagnose, and we connect, and then we diagnose. And another reason we do this very important sales process is that 80% of the client experience is going to be solidified on that first enrollment call. You've all heard first impressions are everything. It's true. It's everything. And if you can really make a client feel heard, feel understood, for probably 80% of my clients, they cry on that first call because they haven't really opened up like this to anybody. It's a problem that they've kind of ignored. And when you start asking deep questions, they feel like, wow, okay, you really care and you're really here to help me. And it's your first chance to coach them.
Yep.
When you get to challenge them a little bit and they realize what this relationship's going to look like. They buy in. The placebo effect is real. If you get a client to buy in and say, wow, this person, no one's ever talked to me like this, they're going to change my life, they're going to sign up with you.
Yeah. So if you really don't have a proven conversion process, this is really an area you need to focus on. Getting results in advance, first of all, like getting, freebies out there, free, give them a taste of what it's like to work with you. Have a good application process really easily. Don't make it difficult. Like really easy for them to apply work with you. Have a CRM, a way to manage those leads that come in is very important too. All these things, and what I'm doing here, guys, is walking through this map. So we've got to have an effective application process, a CRM to have an effective follow-up process, something that's automated. A lot of people make a decision based on the seventh interaction, right? So we have a system and a tool that we teach that sends follow-up emails when they apply to get them to get on the call. All right, we increase that show-up rate significantly. And then a payment process. In fact, if you guys anybody's using Venmo, if anybody's using Venmo or PayPal or any of that stuff, get rid of it. All right, go ahead and use Wave or something that's automated. All right. So we'll go ahead and move on from there. We can talk about this stuff all day. So the bottom line, guys, is that coaches need coaches. Okay. You deserve to be well paid for the things that you do. But first of all, you must value your worth. And there's really no other way to do this. This is the best and only way to value your worth. And it's that investing in yourself. When you invest in yourself, it is a declaration that you are worth it. It changes the subconscious view that you have. When you're on an enrollment call, people feel that energy. Okay, if you don't believe in yourself or in your product, they're not buying shit. Okay, and the most effective way to believe in your product is to declare your worth by investing in yourself. Let me know if you guys understand that. Say yes. So if you don't invest in you, you're never going to be able to expect a client to do the same.
Yeah, funny story about that. Christy, the video that we didn't play, she signed up for IFCA, and the very next day she texted me and said, I made $3,000 today. I was like, what the fuck? We haven't even taught you anything. We haven't had a single phone call. And she said, I really think it was me finding my worth and saying, if I'm going to invest money in myself, I expect the others to do the same now. So much of this lives up here. Oftentimes when clients ask us, what should we sell our program for? Well, what do you think you can sell it for? Because that's what you can sell it for. And then we kind of work on that internal belief. And if we can give a suggestion, we think you should sell it for this. Ooh, that doesn't feel good. Why doesn't it feel good? We're going to work on making the program be that good until you can do that. Like all of this is up here.
We're working on making you believe that it is worth that. If you don't believe it, nobody else is going to believe it, right? And it's not ethical. So what is IFCA? I'll let Erin dive in here.
Yes, so glad you asked. It's a 90-day accelerator, one-on-one coaching, also in a group format that allows you to create either full-time or for some people still side hustle coaching business that you feel good about. We cover everything from what?
Leslie said that's the line that got her to sign up for IFCA.
Which one?
Investing in yourself. And
yeah. It got me to invest in my first mastermind.
Me too.
That's why I use it.
Best decision I ever made.
He asked me, like, you could either be in the same position now or 6 months from now. Like, what's your choice? And I was like, damn it, I've been thinking about it this mastermind for exactly 6 months. Like, it's really convenient that you just said that. Anyway, and I was like, I'm in the same position. In fact, I'm actually going backwards. But with an IFCA, we cover like actually how to build an actual business. If you've been on this long for the last 48 minutes, all of this stuff that we're getting in the weeds about, we cover. You have Jordan, myself, you have a full-time sales coach, you have 2 assistant coaches who are there for accountability. So if you've had a fitness coach, you understand how important that is. If you have not had a fitness coach, then if you want to be a fitness coach and have never had one, I highly suggest that you probably start there. What will I learn? So everything here. Sales and marketing, everything from business framework, defining your ideal client, creating your vision, offer creation, what should you price your services, customer journey, our diagnostic connection sales model that we were just talking about, how that's so important. In fact, when we kind of advertised this, we talked about the 2 mistakes that people make, that diagnostic connection sales process. That's where people screw up. That's why people can't charge what they're worth. That's why clients don't comply. That's a huge one. I'd argue the other one is the storytelling and copywriting, email organic, the intimacy funnel.
Copywriting is a big thing we go into because that's one of the biggest tools you can have as a coach, besides obviously being able to get results, is being a good writer. And because if you can learn copywriting, you're going to learn effective speaking too. It all lives in the brain. And we really dive into that deep and learn and teach you guys copywriting. The other thing is just social media strategy, right? Like how do we approach this? And a lot of people are all over the place. They're kind of dabbling in every single one and don't really know how to use one effectively. So this is individual. We find out who you are, what your product is, we make you take personality tests. We find out like where you excel, and we double down in there between LinkedIn, Facebook, obviously Instagram. Like, we'll figure out what works best for you, and we're going to focus there. Content planning. We actually have a done for you content planner with 6 months worth of content. Basically, they're basically prompts or templates for you to pull shit out of you, right? A lot of times people are like, well, I don't know what to post. So it's like, here are prompts and frameworks to pull the ideas out of you. We're not going to write it for you. We're going to give you tools to create. Then that puts you into a rhythm. Instagram growth and engagement, and then conversations into conversions. We teach you how to create more conversations that lead to more conversions. The next thing is just systems and structure. I won't run through this. You guys can read, I'm sure. And we've already talked a lot about the systems and tools, but outsourcing, hiring, delegation, time management, content repurposing, delivery systems, and a CRM. CRMs are very important. I'm a CRM geek, right? Customer relationship manager. They're not only important for leads, but they're important for your current customers. Think about it. Like, so a client comes in and there are individual things that you need to know about them. They have kids. What do they do for a living? What are they interested in? How do they need to be coached? Are they softer? Are they more of an empath? Are they more aggressive? Do you need to call them a motherfucker and tell them that they're a loser to get them to get out of their own way? Or do you need to be more empathetic? You need to have those notes somewhere. Unless you just have a photographic memory, which I sure as shit don't. Because when you get on a phone call with them, you get on a text conversation with them, you need to know them, okay? And that creates, look, it's a lot cheaper to keep a customer than it is to acquire one. So within IFCA, we teach you how to keep customers for long term, not just because they're with you, because you're coaching them, but because they're connected with you.
One of our current IFCA clients, William Grazione, didn't have a CRM, has been in business, and like I said, my systems were a mess. I'm not one to talk, but has been in business for about a decade. We put a CRM in place, and he's on track to have his best month ever because he's finally following up with people and like able to have that attention to care. It's a big difference. Not even for just those starting out, for people with multiple six-figure businesses like him. Yeah,
Will's he's in the $500,000 to 700K mark, and yeah, he was best month ever came from a more effective sales process and CRM systems. So Erin mentioned that she wished we had a slide on this, and here it is, right? What do we systemize? Okay, whatever we can't systemize, we need to automate. They kind of go together. Then we need to outsource whatever can't be automated. And then we scale. Whatever is left over, think of it as a balance sheet, that's your focus. That's where your area of genius is. Some things we can't outsource, right? Us showing up, our content, like that's the stuff we need to really focus on. Lastly is
one thing I didn't mention at the beginning that I usually always do. It's kind of late now, but usually I encourage people to hang around to the end because we do have something for you.
Yeah.
I totally forgot to say that.
Yeah.
So you guys, the troopers who are on here, we have something for you.
Yeah. I won't run through this too in depth, but we do teach coaching application as well. We have guest coaches who come in. We teach, nutritional overview to make sure that you understand how to create results. And also coaching outside of the X's and O's. A lot of this is psychology. Psychology. All right. We worked out right before this, and I haven't eaten, so I think I'm starting to get a little loopy. But psychological. I'm okay right now. Psychological. Okay, and guest goal setting. We have guest modules in or guest coaches. So we also touch on that, guys, throughout the 12 weeks. So here's the real question, right? Will this work for me? Let's answer that question. Like a lot of people might say, I'm not tech savvy.
You don't have to be. We have frameworks that are going to basically plug and play. Detailed frameworks, done for you systems. We have full-time assistant coaches that keep you accountable. Like that's just an excuse.
Yeah, for sure. And look, the IFCA and the SICC framework works because you could easily go out there and buy a course, and we do offer a course for beginners, but if we're being honest, like it's only going to give you a portion of the support you need. Now, a course can be good just like if you're super beginner, like you have no idea what you're doing, like you haven't even like thought about code, you haven't created content. A course can be effective to at least get you moving, but it's not going to give you the accountability. Okay, that's why you guys might have noticed we've never even marketed our course. We've never even talked about it on social media because we believe in mentorship. We believe in accountability, hands-on guidance. That's only there for people who just aren't ready for what we offer. So if you do get on a call with us and you're not ready, that's what we're going to direct you towards. It's a very, much cheaper, easier thing to get into. You can also join a mastermind group, which Erin and I have done, but you're probably not ready for that. And that's going to cost you about 50 grand. And what we're talking about here is a fraction of that cost with an IFCA. Or you could try to do this on your own too. Like that's an option, but there is opportunity cost and you're going to spend tens of thousands of dollars in mistakes, unearned income, and just wasted time and frustration.
All the same excuses. You don't want your fitness clients to do it on their own.
So this is a short video, and I know the audio is a little choppy, guys, but this is Lacey, one of our assistant coaches, who is there to support, our IFCA students, and she was able to have massive success with basically no following.
With friendships and relationships, we talk about quality over quantity, and I would argue that it is exactly the same when we're talking about your following on Instagram and social media in general. You don't need thousands of followers to grow a business. When I started in IFCA, I had about 700 followers. I have about 1,600 now. And the main difference with my following versus other larger followings is that they are truly engaged with my content, with my message. I share my life authentically, my struggles, my wins, my successes, my failures with them, and they resonate with what I talk about. I've been able to grow a six-figure business with a small following because the people that do follow me are invested in what I'm talking about. I became a coach for IFCA, and I'm helping other people that have small followings really focus on making sure that the people that do follow them are connected with their message. When they're connected, they're more likely to become clients.
Cool. So how can you be sure?
Yeah, well, because we've been in your shoes, you may have fear, you may have doubts, you may have tried other programs. Really, like what you need is a framework. You need accountability. It's all exactly what we preach to our fitness coaches. It works exactly the same.
Yeah. So we're not gonna, because the audio is a little choppy, we're not gonna get into the last case study. We've got not hundreds, but a lot of case studies, a lot of examples. But we want to talk to you guys like what you're going to receive just for the fact that you guys have hung out this entire time. We want to make sure you didn't do this for nothing. Hopefully you guys got some value from this. Comment really quick, yes, if you have gotten value from this. So we make sure we know that we're doing a good job. And we're going to hold another one of these too here soon within the next week. That's going to be a whole new framework and more information and value for you guys. So comment if you would, if this provided some sort of value, and comment if you think that just spending the time on this webinar is going to help you guys in your business. So what are you going to receive as a result of this? I'll let Erin explain.
Yes, so we will tell you how to do it and how to take action on this call if you would like. But what you'll receive is a free strategy call. So if we agree that, well, first a free strategy call. What a lot of times how webinars work is you can enter a program for, half the cost, whatever. We don't let just anyone enter IFCA. So we can't exactly offer that. But what we will do is hop on the phone and strategize with you completely for free. If on that call, we think you could take advantage of IFCA, then you'll get $500 off of enrollment just for being on this call. You'll also get $2,000 of unreleased content from IFCA, the course that we were just telling you about. So if you're good fit for IFCA, you'll get all of that immediately in your hands. You get to work now while you're quarantined.
Yeah. Yeah. So we want to talk to you about exactly what you'll receive too within this, and I'll let Erin explain.
Yeah, I was going through this, and you see these all the time, and in the past they've made me feel weird. Like, really? Like, that's worth that? I was going through this, and I was like, holy shit, I can't believe we sell IFCA for what it's worth. Just like the amount of money, and like we said earlier, $200,000 in mentorship ourselves. So I'll let you read through this. You can see all of this and really the value that's there and the money we've spent on our mentorship and coaching, and hell, even just one of those ClickFunnels that we had created that we're giving to you guys within IFCA cost me $4,000. So
yeah. So right now, guys, you essentially have two choices, and it's really quite simple. You can bet on or you can do nothing and not bet on yourself, which that is 100% risk free, right? Or you can take the chance of speaking with us, which we do want to offer you this opportunity for a strategy call, and it's no obligation. If we have turned at least a dozen people away on this, through this process, which we do. We're not taking the risk of not bringing in anybody who we can't help.
And that's okay if we do that. We're not going to be like, fuck you, don't waste our time. We're going to say, hey, if you do these few things, it might work in August.
We're going to give you a plan. We're going to give you an action plan that you can take with you and put into place now based on where you're currently at. Okay, so you're going to get something from this. It's no obligation. So I want to also just highlight something that Warren Buffett says, who by all accurate measures is the greatest investor who's ever lived. He made $16 billion just on Q4 last year, just on his investments, $16 billion. When he's asked, even today in his 80s, what's the best investment you can make? It's in yourself. He answers bar none. The more you learn, the more you'll earn, okay? And we're in a scary time right now where it's a good opportunity to invest. So if we look at investment opportunities, why not bet on yourself? It's a no-brainer.
Yeah. I don't know if many of you guys have read or listened to Tim Ferriss's podcast or read his book, Tribe of Mentors. I was going through it last night. It was fascinating and just really solidified my belief in this. He always asks, name the best investment that you've ever had, or maybe there's more context to it. And every author, every entrepreneur was saying the time I spent writing my book, the money I spent like doing this, it was every single one was in themselves. None of them said this in the stock market.
And these are some from like the top like tech investors in the world, Peter Thiel and like these kind of guys.
Yeah, all of them, it was that. And I can relate. Yeah. So how can you take advantage of these things we talked about today? If you are interested in hopping on a strategy call, if you feel like we can help you based on everything we explained today, you can take action by doing this. Hayden is our sales coach and enrollment director. That is his phone number right there. Super friendly guy. He'll have a text conversation back and forth with you. Text that number. Make sure you tell him your name. Otherwise, he's not going to know who you are. Tell him your name. Tell him that you're coming from the webinar. You're interested in a strategy call. He'll probably send you a calendar link. He may have you fill out an application prior to getting on the phone.
Maybe.
If I were him, I would do that. But
Hayden's the enrollment director, and he's one of the sweetest humans known to man. You can ask anybody. If anybody's on the call who's ever spoke with Hayden, you wouldn't mind just commenting what a sweetheart Hayden is. He's not a scary sales guy. He just wants to see if we can help you. And all you have to do is text that number. We are only offering, though, this deal through tonight. Is that right?
Yes. So text him tonight. Book your call within the next 24 hours, and you can take advantage of that.
Yeah. And Hayden, it's a good opportunity for you to get to know Hayden because he's going to be the one guiding you through the sales process in IFCA. He's going to be walking you. As a matter of fact, thanks, guys, for reiterating that. Hayden is just a beautiful human. He's actually going to help you close calls, literally. Like he will, just to prove that it works, He's done this with several students. Like, let's say you're in a sales run. He'll get on the phone for you and close a deal for you. No other sales coach in the industry is going to do that. So yeah, guys, just text the number, have a conversation with him, and we promise you guys will not regret it. But I'm going to use the restroom real quick, and then we'll open it up for questions.
Yeah, I'll go through and answer questions. Yes, so actually that slide is still there. You can still see that. So yeah, Hayden, I told him, I said, be on standby. When we finish the webinar, I'm giving your personal cell phone number to whoever's on. And that's just who he is. He's so happy and willing and ready to help. So I'm going back through some of these. Yeah, so Jocelyn had mentioned that she gets really overwhelmed with keeping up. I wonder if I stop the share. Well, I guess that's fine. I want to leave that up. So Jocelyn had said that she gets really overwhelmed with all the things you have to do, follow-up, content creation, etc. That's why you have systems. So with the CRM, it's not overwhelming to do the follow-ups and everything. It is at first. It's overwhelming to set up all these things. With content creation, you have a system around a content calendar, and you kind of put on autopilot. And you don't just come up with those things overnight. Within IFCA, we have our first couple of modules are setting up your day and time management, and we use the system with a power list. And at the beginning of your day, you kind of center, you put down your 5 things. We kind of tell you how you choose your 5 things around content, depending what your goals are. So it can be overwhelming if you're running from one to the next, like I was for those 4 years. I've been there. That's why systems become so important. Going back through. Hannah asked what I decided on my dress. So it's actually hanging in my closet right now, and I told Jordan to stay out of it unless he wanted to see it, and he's like adamant on not wanting to see it. So it's in there, and he's not going to see it. We had some good questions back here. Someone had asked if this PowerPoint will be available for download so we can look at it after the call. I'm recording you guys talking so I can go back and listen. If we did this correctly, the entire thing should be recorded, and the recording should be sent out 24 hours after we started to everyone who had signed up. I know there was a couple back towards the beginning. And if you guys have questions now, feel free to drop them in. I'll go back up towards the beginning of the chat for those of you who are still hanging in there. Well, I guess that's as far back as we can scroll.
Cool. Well, if any questions that you guys dropped that we didn't answer, feel free to drop them.
Sorry, yeah, if I didn't answer your question, it's because I can't go all the way back for some reason.
Jocelyn, 2 different coaches program in the past. Honestly, Jocelyn, I understand. And again, we're not going to sit here and preach to you the value in the processes. The reason it's different is because of us. But I would just recommend you get on a call with Hayden, and he'll answer those questions in a more detailed way. And, and again, it's no obligation. If you don't feel right, we encourage you not to do it because we don't want people who aren't fully committed. And I understand that, Jocelyn. And the other thing I would question or ask yourself is you want to be careful about not letting a bad investment steer you away from not committing to yourself in another way. And if you've had 2 bad investments, I also would look inside and challenge yourself and saying, what is it about me that possibly led to that decision? See, we only want people who are not, don't have victim mentality, have ownership mentalities. So instead of saying you got burned, I would say it didn't work out. I would, if you're going to say you got burned, then that almost tells us that you almost have this victim mentality, right? Because everything we do is our own fault. Always. Every decision we make, every position we are in life is because of something. It's because of us. We're the only ones. So I'm not being mean here. I'm just being honest. And I would say, I would reframe the way you look at that. And again, if this isn't right for you, no pressure, but I would talk to Hayden one way or another.
Yeah. Usually in those, there's something you got out of it, even if it's what kind of coach you don't want to be. You learn that through them, and that could potentially be part of your journey.
Yeah. And no, Jocelyn, I took that as not rude whatsoever. I totally understand. But again, I would try to dig deep and challenge yourself a little bit there. What is your click moment when it came to becoming a coach and getting into this industry? For me, Laura, I've been doing this for as long as I can remember to some capacity. Like my dad owned a gym growing up. He was a bodybuilder. He would train clients. And then I started training clients in person when I was really young. So I always had a fear, though, in terms of getting into the online space. And I was dabbling in it. It wasn't until I got around Erin that it started to take off, because there was a mentorship there, essentially. Like I was able to see what was possible. And that really allowed me to have the belief in myself. And she believed in me. That's a big part of what a coach and mentor can do, too. It's somebody who you really respect and who believes in you. I'm going to be honest. If you come into the program and I don't believe in you, I'm going to tell you. It doesn't happen very often because we only bring people in who we think can do this thing. But look, belief is a huge conduit for success.
Yeah, you dealt with just a little bit of just limiting beliefs too around your like ability to do it. I think you had all these defense mechanisms, right? I don't want to shit where I eat. This is my passion. I'm not going to try to make money off it. Like all the, I'm like, well, why wouldn't you marry those two? That's a beautiful way to live.
Yeah.
So sometimes that's what you need too, is just that little shift. For me, it was pretty obvious. I really was into fitness myself. People started asking. I felt like I have an obligation to help these people who are now asking. And then I started training people in person. Those people said, I wish I lived close by. I wish you could help me. I said, you know what, let me just try to figure that out. Anytime I see a problem, I'm just like, okay, I can probably come up with a solution to this. So it just worked really organically for me.
But I think Erin had a later like click moment too, when she did start, operating with coaches and restructuring her business and becoming more of the business owner than the business operator. Yeah. That was a big aha moment for Erin too, because then she was able to effectively scale without running her face into the concrete, right?
Yeah, it clicked for me that I wanted to do it. In 2016, I said, I want to burn all this shit to the ground. I hate doing this. And then I hired coaches and I said, okay, this isn't so bad when you don't have to like lose your hair and work 80 hours a week.
So Kylie, yeah, absolutely. Go ahead and keep your call that you have scheduled and just let Hayden know that you were on the webinar and we'll still grant you the same offer, the same discount. So will IFCA apply to injury prevention and performance training? Blah, 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 when you attract athletes and their parents since they would pay for it. David, that might be an offer that you need to explore a little bit better and more clear. You want to really focus on like what's the result. It's going to be that's going to be a hard offer to market. I'm going to be honest with you. Yeah, these tools will still apply, but if you're marketing to their parents, you're not going to connect with that's a tough offer. And also training online for kids. David, if you want to reach out to me one-on-one, and I'd be more than happy to chat with you and we can brainstorm. But initially, I would say that might be an offer that you might want to, that'd be more of an in-person offer, if I'm being honest, rather than online. Now, you can attract in-person clients that way, but I'm not sure how you would leverage that to a really successful degree online. Because again, people make decisions, they take action and invest based on those two things. You're not trying to make their kids have more sex or have their kids have higher status, so it's something you need to explore.
I know it's my systems for me delegating. I know it's my systems for me delegating, automating. How do you make sure you're not left behind if they're having a staking point on one area when coaching such a large group in short timelines? So we
have 5 coaches.
Yeah, we have 5 coaches. And we pay individual attention to everyone. We care. I guess that's the best answer I can give you. If someone's falling behind, I'm not just going to let that happen. We have accountability in place. We have
check-ins. We make sure that you're putting the things in place that we, tell you to do.
I would ask some of our past students those questions. Obviously, we're going to sit here and say like, oh, yeah, we're awesome. And we make sure no one falls behind. I almost every day am tagging people in my story, or if I don't know where else you could go through, I'm sure, and find places. But
do you write them or talk to them? Or Anita, most of what we do is all through video chat, through voice memos, text messages. Not a lot of like email communication when it comes to IFCA. That's not a very effective way to build to help people, in my opinion. So, Devin, preliminary call with Erin, working person with Jordan. Oh, hey, Devin, I didn't know that was you. I've been experienced storytelling passion. Yeah, Devin, you're perfect for this. It's yeah, Devin, and I know working with you as a fitness client, this is something that you can have a lot of success with for sure. In saturated market, how will your coaching help us stand out? Sydney, we talked about all those things. Really doubling down on who you are. No matter how much I put into clients, they don't seem to follow the tools and jump to the next diet trend. How do you connect with somebody? Well, Sydney, number one, you're probably undercharging, right? And you're not putting yourself out there in an authentic way, because when you do that, you attract clients who really trust and love you, so they're more likely to commit. And you're probably not charging enough. Based on case in point, if you're not charging enough, people aren't going to stick around, right? People need to be invested. So that's really what that comes down to. And again, to answer that question more specifically, how do we help you stand out? Everything we talked about tonight.
Yeah, typically when clients aren't compliant, we spend a whole week kind of talking about that. It's either they don't trust you or they don't trust themselves or they're not invested. So there's one of those that they're dealing with. I'd love to know what your enrollment process looks like. Yeah, not charging enough is usually it. You get a lot of buy-in and a lot of expectations set through your enrollment process.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
if you're not setting clear expectations there and you're not coaching them a little bit on that, my clients don't jump to the next diet trend. My clients know what I say goes because they trust me.
Yeah, that's the thing on that enrollment call. You're setting the expectation. You can only have a disappointed client if you don't set clear expectations. That's why we get clients to commit for 6 months. Because if we get them to commit for 10 weeks, 8 weeks, they don't see the result, then they're probably going to fall off. But if we tell them, hey, look, for example, okay, how much weight do you want to lose, Martha? Martha tells us, well, I need to lose about 20 pounds. Okay, cool, great. Well, 20 pounds, to do this like in a safe and effective way that's not going to hurt you metabolically, we need to lose about 2 pounds a week. So that puts us at about, what's that, 20 weeks? I'm sorry, my math is off. Let's say she loses 2 pounds a week. Let's say that's going to take 15 weeks. Okay, Martha, that's going to get you to your goal. But here's the thing. I can't let you just go out like that because you're going to go out with a metabolism that's downregulated. You are going to have high hunger signaling and you're going to fall off. That's why most diets fail. So I'm going to need at least 100% of that time on the back end. I'm going to need another 20 weeks to help you build up your metabolism so you can maintain that new weight while eating a healthy level of calories. How does that sound, Martha? Does that sound good? Oh yeah, that sounds great. Cool. So this is going to take about 40 weeks. And as long as you're okay with the patience, you're tired of doing everything else that's failed for you, right? Yeah, I'm tired of the yo-yo. Of course you are. That's why we're here. So let's go ahead and move forward. It's going to be 20 weeks. That's going to be $3,200, but you can save 10% if you pay in full right now. So, and you just go through the process. Oh, that's too much? Okay, cool. Well, if you pay half up front right now, I'll still give you a 10% discount. So it's going to be $98 a week. How's that sound? Oh yeah, that's a deal. Great. Now you just got a $400 a month ETF client for 6 months.
This is the diagnostic sales process that we briefly touched on, but you see how there's education and buy-in when you really diagnose because what did I say the other day that was so brilliant? Diagnosis without prognosis is not practice. Mm-hmm. Is that how I get those 2 words switched up sometimes? They have to know
prognosis without diagnosis is malpractice.
Yes. So you can't, hey, I can help you. Let's sign up. You have to know what's going on. You have to really get the person bought in. You have to eliminate their fears. You have to get them to understand. When you have that whole conversation with you, they're not going to come to you the next week and be like, I think I want to try keto, unless they're just crazy.
Yeah, Sydney. If you want to help, you have to help yourself. You can't fill from a half-empty cup, Sydney. And I would challenge you by saying that you have not filled your cup up enough in valuing yourself, investing in yourself, building up your offer so that you can go into pitch it to a client confidently. That's what this comes down to. So anybody else have any questions? If not, I'm going to go get some food because I think I'm going to have a hypoglycemic attack here soon.
I didn't mean to bring you a grouchy, hungry Jordan.
Yeah, sorry. You might be grouchy.
You're being a little aggressive.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, guys.
He's angry right now. Awesome. Cool, guys. Well, thanks for hanging in there with us. Like I said, if this works correctly, replay should be sent out 24 hours after the fact. If not, we'll find a way to get it to you. Like I said, newbies to the software. Yeah, and that's a thing I want to touch on that just for a second, right? Like sometimes this is how I coach in IFCA. Sometimes I am that guy who's going to tell you the things that you need to hear, but you don't want to hear. And we have, I do have a compassionate side too. But by you seeing me like this, the expectation's set. So if you come into IFCA, you know what you're going to get. Good point. Good example. Right. And it comes from a place of no scarcity. Sydney, if I had to guess, I'm scared away by money because I just want to help people. That's either a scarcity mindset or that's a people pleaser mindset or that's you operating from some place that isn't your best self. If you really truly wanted to help and you understood that people who pay attention and you weren't really attached to the outcome, you'd like have to lower your prices, you would help like you. Jordan isn't begging for anybody's money. So he's like, fuck, I'm going to tell you, how it feels. I really want to help you. So this is how I would talk to my brother or whoever. So it's like I said earlier, it's a lot of shifting within you. It's digging into you. Like, what are these things that are holding me back? Yeah, good point. So yeah, there will definitely be a replay that'll be emailed out. So that should be going out within the next few hours, probably. 24 hours. 24 hours, cool. Well, thanks, guys. We really appreciate it. We'll send an update on the next one, and we'll talk to you guys soon. And feel free to DM me, guys, if you have questions. Yeah, either of us. Shoot us messages. See you guys.